How do you get organizational leaders on board with change? This is one of the number one questions I'm asked about my research on the unwritten rules of work and building healthy cultures. Both research and history show us that people who come up with new ideas are the radicals of their time. But to be successful in implementing their ideas, they have to temper it and moderate it a little bit. They have to make it digestible to someone who's not there yet. Because for a movement to happen, you have to form alliances with people on the opposite ends of things. And to draw allies, it has to be moderate enough to attract them. The thought process that you've already gone through or your lived experience to get to your radical idea, other people still have to go on that journey first. To see the success of non-traditional ideas, brand new ideas, marginalized groups, we have to find enough common ground to get people going. Some research shows that groups that work well together have about 61% in common, because more than 61%, they start having redundancies. Communicating the why behind your movement is important unless it really challenges the status quo, and especially if it's a moral one. If it's a moral one, you need to find a why that's in common with someone else's that they already have, but they don't see how your idea fits with it. I posted a video the other day about the women's suffrage movement. Let's talk about how this applies here. The women's suffrage movement typically had two main pillars of arguments on why women deserved equality: the justice argument or the social reform argument. The justice argument is women should have rights because it's the right thing to do. It puts us on par with men. We are equal to them. There's no reason that we shouldn't have them. The social reform argument was if women have rights, they will make the society better. But women's traditional roles of being communal and carers and nurturers would make the world better, being employed teachers and political politicians, etc. But neither of those arguments appealed to conservative women. I'm assuming conservative white women, because as I said in the other video, there were racial nuances here as well. Neither the justice nor the social reform argument mattered to them. This woman, Frances Willard, figured out what did. She rebranded the women's suffrage movement to be about temperance, abstaining from alcohol. Conservative women very much cared about the overuse of alcohol and the abuse from it, and Frances pointed out that most of it was from men. And she marketed women's rights as an opportunity to say we'd have more people in charge who aren't in control of the drink or under the influence of it. It seems silly in hindsight, but it worked. It gained more followers. This women's suffrage movement had more support, and it was able to move forward. Granted, very slowly, and we're still waiting for the full benefits to this day. And as I've said before in many other videos, it moved forward mostly for wealthy white women. But the lesson we can learn from this is that when you start with a radical idea, you have to find the why that your audience cares about. Willard could not convince groups to care about the issues she cared about, but she could find out what mattered to them. Now, does that mean you throw your principles out the window? Absolutely not. In my other video on women's suffrage, I talked about Lucy Stone and how she split from Susan B. Anthony because Susan B. Anthony joined hands with a racist and turned her back on abolition, and that was not